Welcome welcome all to the NBA Hardwood show. And if you're wondering why are we 8 minutes late? Well, that fault is much of Tony Neathouse, Big T over here. He was forcing us to wait. And I'm also filling in for Third and Schlong. After 100K last night, he is sick for this show today. I assume that's a very massive hangover that he had after winning 100K on FanDuel with a Raptors Nuggets game stack and also the Celtics value late. So big congrats to Third and Schlong for his 100K hit. I'm joined by Mangone. I'm joined by Big T. We'll go to the most important man in the room. Mangone, how are you doing today?
I am not the most important man in the room because everyone listens to Tony all the time. Everyone just thinks that Tony's the best. Everyone probably in the chat thinks that it was Rubio or Mangone's fault that we were late and Tony was here on time. But and of course he shakes his head too and loves to give false stories. He'll probably say, "Oh, it wasn't me," and everything. But that's just Big T. He spews nonsense way too much.
When we started Run Pure 4 years ago, we said there is no start times. It starts when we get here. And it's still true. The show starts when we get here. There's no freaking start time, Gregory. Gregory hasn't been in. He's trying to fill in big shoes for someone that won 100K. Like usual, he's a little shorter in the pants than Schlong was yesterday. And he's trying to overcome. What are those old sandals you got on too? I mean, what was that?
They are 3 years old, yes.
What was that? Why'd you show a sandal? What was
that? You
said
big shoes to fill. I mean, that's a big shoe.
That's a 4-year-old sandal. That's not
a big shoe. Like it fills the whole camera screen.
That's not a big shoe, Rubio.
That's the worst thing I've seen since JSU's foot on the show. What's your sandal?
What's your shoe size, Rubio? Are you an 8.5?
Like a 6.
Gee, come on, guys. It's 10. It's 10.5. I mean, come on.
No way.
Yeah, it is.
And the second gripe I got from the other person coming to me is the dude still has the Kelsey box, the Swift box behind him. We can't even get the red stripe backdrop we used to have. I complain every day on the show, and it never freaking gets better.
I mean, I kind of like that you guys keep complaining. It's kind of great. Like, we got Joe A in here, change the backdrop for crying out loud. Like, Joe A, it's just one of those things that, like, every single day you can, like, just be waiting for the man going to change his backdrop. It's something to look forward to all the time.
It says man go. How'd you get in the dart field? What? Are you a darter? What's that mean? Darts.
I definitely am not the dart stout at Run Pure Sports.
And how the hell does Rubio get NASCAR? I whoop Rubio's ass getting NASCAR. I'm going to do it again this week. He got me on Austin Cindric, crashed one lap in.
Well, you know what we have this weekend? We get March Madness. The conference tournament's wrapping up, a little bit. Then we get into the thick of March Madness here. And we also will be having a new package for March Madness only this season. So remember that if you guys are wanting to join in for maybe the March Madness fun and aren't a member, we do have that available going into this weekend.
Bruce,
I
was this close, actually. This close to changing my backdrop to a hockey rink. I was very close, but maybe I should.
Bruce. Bruce will always be my favorite. I wish Bruce was on here with us. Love Bruce.
Maybe I need to find out.
He's quiet. He's the quiet assassin, though. He just throws just little seeds in there for people to be. That's my favorite kind of joke. Just little nuggets in there.
Yeah, I might have to find a hockey backdrop for this show, Big T. So
should I be on it, BG3? They haven't invited me. Should I come on it? I'm not good.
This guy.
I might get there late or something.
Oh God! Here. By the way, big shout out to Bruce hitting 3K and CS:GO the other day.
Again?
Yeah, well, 3K. No, I was early in the week. Just wanted to shout him out. He deserves it. He was grinding CS:GO content at the RPS party. So, big congrats! Great content over there, and great content overall. And so, anything else that you guys want to add? Anything else before we dive into this pretty large slate?
I apologize to the Run Pure people last night because I didn't realize that they were counting on me for the Nuggets. Oh my! I can't do it with hockey in the backdrop. I can't continue my thought. I want the Swifties back. We want the Swifties back, baby. We can't do hockey. We want Swifties. But
I could be wrong.
Night, Rubio informed me that everyone was asking for me. Usually I see it. I don't even remember what I was doing. I was doing something though, and I missed it. I bet it, but I didn't put it in I always put it in the Discord. I didn't. Of course, they came back and won again at plus 150 at one point. I bet it, but I was selfish. I'm not usually selfish. I forgot to put it in the Discord, and I apologize. I feel bad about that. I should have. I let the people down, and I need forgiveness.
Yeah, It's going to be tough to forgive you. People were clamoring. People were adding you in the Discord saying, where's our Denver money line halftime bet when they were down 17?
I feel bad. I do.
It's crazy because you got on JSU for the same thing. You said JSU didn't provide.
No, that's not even close to the same thing. JSU's selfish day after day after day after day. I post in there almost every day different stuff. He never does. He's very selfish, and I'm appalled at that comparison.
Well, JSU posted his winners last night. Bruce Brown, 8+ rebounds, 5-1 and stuff. I mean, I didn't see you in there. So
you didn't see me talking up Bruce Brown on the show? You didn't
did.
watch, so you didn't know. I was stroking Bruce Brown on the show. People made fun of my narratives. I said if he plays, he's going to do good against the Nuggets because of that whole they stroke each other. They're going to let him do good. You didn't see that, though, because you didn't watch our show, Gregory, and that's very hurtful.
I was on the show. It was Mangone. Come on. I was on the show with you.
I didn't watch the show, but I have people listening and heard Tony was making fun of me on the show. So thank you, Tony.
Would I make fun of you? No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
What I do?
You made fun of my Chick-fil-A story.
Yeah, you were pooping. You're the UK and the Chick-fil-A. We did.
You're the only person. You're the only person in the world that has never had an automatic toilet just not flush for you. I mean
you left that whole bowl full.
I mean, Tony, it wouldn't flush. And Uncle T was on my side. We want to go back to handles, just take your foot and kick it.
It was a handle.
No, it wasn't. It was a button on the side. It wasn't a handle. I didn't see the button. It was like melded in or something.
See, there's someone that watched the show. The Porter brothers. The Porter brothers got the job done,
I
baby.
literally held that up there for a long time. You didn't even check it. We all said yes.
I was staring at the hockey. I'm freaking discombobulated now that there's hockey on the screen.
So
I could change it up. Maybe I got a better idea for you guys. I think you guys can get behind this idea I have, but it's only good for this show. I feel like I can't do it for other shows, but let me see. Let me see what I can do.
Did you take the shirt off when you went into Chick-fil-A at least?
No, I don't. I don't take the shirt off in public. I think it's a little in public. I can't do it. I mean, I think you could make a case if you had like a baggy shirt and it's a messy one. Maybe you do take the shirt off so you don't get it on there. But I don't think I've done that too much.
I always take it off no matter where I'm at.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. Jonte Porter also doing really well last night. You had the brothers narrative. You also had the Jamal Murray going against a team from Canada narrative.
He represented Canada very well. Thank you.
He did. You got 56 DK fantasy points.
And no one played him, so he was a massive leverage.
Yep. And then obviously we had a big chopper. Oh, actually, no, it ended up being a small chop because Hauser got into the showdown team at the end. But that Celtics value popped up with Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser late. The value being in the Discord, it was all up to date there and everything. So good times to be had. And we also have that big slate tonight, 7:30 start time. So if you're wondering, oh man, the slate starts at 7. No, you got an extra 30 minutes, and that's only one game locking. And then every other game starts at 8 or later tonight. And so we are going to start with the first game. And that first game
I just realized Rubio sent me a text too, freaking out about me being late. I mean, he's very
I got one too, Tony. I got
very
one
high maintenance, Travis. Like
the slate starts at 7:30. Why are we rushing Rubio?
I mean, he's very anxious on us. Very, very.
I know the viewers are going to be very happy with me because I try and run a tight schedule. People are getting off work. People want to come into the show.
Because it's freaking 2.5 hours before the thing starts.
Oh my goodness. Sorry for holding you guys accountable. I'll never do that again. Trust me. I won't hold either of you accountable from here on out. All right. Let's get to the games.
It's you. It's how we that's why we love you. You hold us accountable. I mean, it's
but I just want to hang out. Why can't I hang out with my friends a little bit longer? You know what I mean? Just a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. All right. First game. Philadelphia 76ers at the New York Knicks. So not a whole lot of injury concerns on the New York side of things, right? We got Jalen Brunson's back to full health, whatever. OG Anunoby could be back for this one. You basically have a situation where the Knicks are almost fully healthy again outside Randall and Mitch Robinson being out. But we're not just gravitating to 45, 47 minutes of McBride or Josh Hart here. And then on the Philly side of the ball, I mean, outside of Embiid and Melton, you really kind of have another fully healthy roster. So this first game doesn't seem like it's going to pop a ton, at least on DraftKings. Mangone, I'm going to kick it to you first. Talk maybe a little bit more about the FanDuel side of things between the Knicks and Sixers and who you might be interested in for this game tonight.
Yeah, I was trying to fix this backdrop. It's not working. So you're stuck with the hockey thing for a little bit longer. But anyways, so this game is definitely one that I'm not super excited about. I think overall there's some price hikes on some of these plays that I'm just not dying to get to. Obviously, Maxi's back. Kyle Lowry's up there now. It's a lot of prices that are up. Jalen Brunson, I do want to call out that they were throwing a lot of double teams at him the last game, where I'm not super excited about him, especially if they do that again. Nick Nurse has been known to do that. He did it in Toronto, where he just runs the box and one, and he just throws two guys at you and forces the ball out of his hands, or forces him to take really bad shots. So I think this is a pretty good spot to just fade on Brunson. All these other options on the Knicks, they are a bit pricey. Like I said, DiVincenzo price has gone down, so at 6'9", I don't hate that. Hard at 7'2", it's okay, but Precious at 6'5", like I don't want to pay 6'5" for Precious Achiuwa. That feels too high. Also, OG Anunoby is expected to return, so that could also hurt Hart and DiVincenzo's minutes, so you could make a case to be lower on them because of that. I still think their minutes are fine, but keep in mind, there's just more ways things can go wrong for the situation. So I'm not super excited about the Knicks. And then the Philadelphia side of the ball, listen, Philadelphia has been an absolute mess. I really want to do my best to avoid it. I think you can make a case for Tobias Harris at 7-7, but I think you're overpaying a bit, especially where there's just way better plays on this slate. Another thing to call out with just to give some slate context is there's some really, really good spots that we can just like play, and we just want to attack. And I felt that way yesterday, and I feel similar today, where I just don't think we want to play too many guys in this game. You could make the argument to cross this game off, like I see some of the chatters are saying, and Tony might say. I mean, there's not like Tobias Harris is fine, but like I just don't want to load up on this game. If I'm overexposed to it, I think that's a mistake. I want to be underexposed to this game. I don't want to have as much exposure.
Yep, that's very, very fair. And I figure that Big T, you might be thinking the same thing about this game. You seem to either want to jam the early game or maybe fade it completely. But I imagine this one is just gross overall. Like you're going to be on Mango side for this one, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just people like put me in that box of always wanting to play the early guys. It just happened that one year where Toronto and these teams that played 40 minutes a night were always early. This year, I've actually been more on the late cruise. Most of the slates I've been more late than early, and this is no different here. I mean, these prices are just high. I mean, Brunson 93, Hart with Brunson in is expensive. Dante, I mean, these prices are just at worst they're fair. Like OG back in the mix. Is he questionable or is he for sure in?
He's in.
So they just have more guys. Even when these guys were peaking early, Bojan wasn't there. They're just full. I mean, these prices are too high. Even like Miles McBride at 4,800, you just can't. There's no way you can click these buttons. The only three you could really even consider are Brunson, Hart, DiVincenzo, and they're just not going to be outside of 150 plays where you just kind of put guys in and see where they fit here, small percentages. You're definitely not going to play the Knicks. And I mean, most of the people watching these shows anyways are single entry 1, 2, 3 team players anyways. That's why I always try to give my takes based on my main team. And I think that's why the content I do helps people, or at least I try to help people, because I always have my main team. And then if I play 150, I have that strategy too. But I always try to base it on my one main team, because I always play a main team. All the sports I play, one main team. So, I mean, Philly's even worse than the Knicks, outside of Maxey being a definite 150 play. I mean, absolutely leave him in there because he could nuke it. But the rest of these prices, you're not paying that. 77 for Tobias, 65 for Oubre, 62 for Buddy. I mean, all these guys are in here now. Lowry and Campaign have been added to the rotation since before they were getting healthy and stuff. So no one here. Long-winded answer of saying definitely no one for my single entry teams.
Perfect. I mean, we're going to breeze through this game, right? I'm with you guys both. There's not a whole lot of reason why you gravitate to this game, and I wouldn't even do it as a last piece because I just think that all these guys are priced to hell, and you'd be best kind of fading it.
You're the one that told me I got to leave everyone in my 150 now. You're going back on what you've been telling me.
No, we're talking about single entry and 3 entry max. We're talking to our core members here, Big D.
I got you. Right. I'm on the same page with that.
Yeah, MME wise, if you really want me to touch on it, yeah, I don't delete anyone from the pool. I might bump some of these guys down or maybe slightly up, but even then, you're not going to get all.
You won't need to bump them down at where they're at.
You don't need to. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, not that many MME members will take advice, other than their own process. But getting rid of people, especially with the Sims and SaberSim, doesn't really help a whole lot from what I've found out, unless they're just disaster. You can filter them out. Yes. Tony.
Rubio, I still owe you $100, but I'd like to win my $100 back by saying no one from this game will be on the winner.
You owe me $100? What'd I win for him?
No, I owe Rubio $100.
Oh, damn it. I was excited. I wanted to win $100. Rubio was freaking winning from everybody.
Rubio, I think you need to pull everyone from your pool from this game. This game sucks.
So here, real quick. I just want to be mentioned in front of 200 people. I beat man going in a foot race up a hill barefoot while he had shoes.
I just thought it right now on this.
One other thing.
I think being barefoot was an advantage for what it's worth.
Oh, stop it! Stop being barefoot running up a grass hill in rain. Yeah, that's not an advantage at all. Stop. And just so people know, Bobby Hare did not beat me in basketball. I beat Bobby Hare with a 35-footer from deep. I just want to put it out there.
I saw it. I witnessed it. You got him. You definitely got him. And it might have been an upset victory, but it doesn't matter how you get there. You got to the winner's circle.
Bobby's going to say, I was drunk. It doesn't
matter what he says. I watched it. You beat him. You beat him in the ring. That's all that matters.
He tried to Babe Ruth me. He tried to drink and think he could kick my ass. Nah, he was wrong.
I think he might have just been drinking to have an excuse to when he had to play you.
You definitely get respect for it, but Rubio, I'm gonna come back in next year when Bobby challenges you. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna take the challenge?
Obviously, Rubio Bobby part 2. I mean, it's the pay-per-view event. I will say, if he is sober, the spread is going to be minus 10.5 in a game to 11.
Oh God!
See, this is what I'm talking about. He knows he's not.
I'm off Gregory's side now. That was so weak.
I wouldn't take my half. All right. Anyway, real quick, we have more games to get to. But Tony, you're going to a very good basketball game tonight. I did kind of want to mention that the Northern Kentucky region finals between a couple big schools, right? That's what you're doing tonight. That's why you're fading the first game. Is that right?
I mean, that's not why I'm fading it, but I am going because it's going to be a great game. My favorite coach in the area versus all the talent in the area, so it's going to be a fun game.
If only our Norse didn't let us down, we could celebrate being on that court. But let's go ahead and move on to the Pacers at the Oklahoma City.
An absolute load. He was bigger than I thought. He was muscling you. Didn't matter though, because you had the hustle, you had the heart, and you got it. I was on your side until you said freaking 10.5. That was bull crap.
I would have to be up there for me to take myself. Pacers at the Thunder. On DraftKings,
back on Travis's side.
This one has a few good options here, right? This one got Miles Turner is going to be projecting pretty well. Pascal Siakam not projecting bad. Actually, the runner-up for the MVP as the odds stand right now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 10.5, and Tyrese Halliburton 9K. Halliburton's struggles of late, man, have been a little bit worrying, but 9K, is that enough to pull the trigger on him today?
I'm not dying to play Halliburton here. I mean, you could make the case like. If you wanted to make the case, Gregory, in your MME pool, keep him in there. I could make the argument for Halliburton for that. But single entry stuff, I do not think he is going to be a priority. I don't think he's a good spend. I think there's other spends that I would rather get to at the guard position. So not super excited about him. I just think the emergence of Pascal Siakam on that team, it's messed up some of his flow, right? I mean, he's been great. And now they play with guys that need the ball in their hands. Yes, Benedict Mathurin or Mathurin, however I say his name. I always mess it up. People love to make fun of it.
That's terrible.
Benny Mac is out, so obviously, and he's out for the season. So yeah, that's going to funnel usage of some of these other guys. I do think this is a nice boost for Aaron Nesmith just in general. So I do think Aaron Nesmith is someone that, as a value, I don't completely hate here. The OKC side of the ball, that's a tough one because Indiana is a team that we always want to target. Basically, if they're on the slate, we say, hey, we have to consider it. What are we looking at here? And I think all three of SGA, Jalen Williams, and like Josh Giddey, I guess you'd put Chet in there too. But overall, it's just not a spot that I'm dying to get to these guys. Like SGA he's the best spend on the slate if you have the value. But you need to have the value. We have it. But do you want to spend your guard money like that? Like I talked about this yesterday. The big thing I mentioned was I thought Luka was a great play, but I said Tatum and Jokic are the better spends because of how good the guard value is. So if you're spending on SGA, it depends what you think of the guard value on this slate. We don't have all of the news and information to figure that out, but I think that's a very big talking point with how you handle this slate, because if you look at all the spends, we have Victor Wembanyama. He is 10.6K. We have SGA 10.5. You got Sabonis at 10.4, and then you have Tatum at 9.7. I think you can make an argument that I would rather maybe spend for Tatum and just go down at some of my guards instead. So I don't know what you guys think about that. I think it's an important talking point because, yes, we have value to play SGA, but is it best to use that with your guards? I think that's like the big debate that you have to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a debate, but I also look at this game too, and we talked about it on the premium show last night, how scoring since the All-Star break, I'd say, has been down a little bit, and this game comes in with a whopping, what is it, like a 239, almost 240 total, actually over 240. It's the highest total of the game tonight, and no one on SaberSim right now with their projected ownership is over 20% right now. Tony, is this a potential like sneaky spot to maybe kind of get multiple pieces from this game with the highest total on the slate?
Totals mean dick in NBA. Like literally mean as much as holding your dick in your hand. That's how much totals mean. It's all about rotations. Indiana has quietly, again, I'm more of a field player, so someone might jump in and be like, this isn't true. Indiana games haven't been as good as people think. Like they play a style, they play a lot of guys. I mean, just looking at like the flow chart up that we have at Run Pure Sports, which shows some of the best matchups. You hardly ever see Indiana matchups in the flow chart, which shows you it just hasn't been as good as it seems. Like today in the flow chart, Josh Giddey and Jalen Williams are two of them, and neither one of them really pop off that much anyways. Indiana's issue, they just play so many guys, and some of their better plays are just like full-on condom plays too. Like Pascal's a condom play to me. Like he's going to play 30 minutes. He's going to get 35 fantasy points. That's fine. Don't get me wrong. That's not bad. That's a good last guy in type thing. But I'm not just slamming these guys in. And OKC is one of those teams too that they play a lot of guys. They are solid. Don't get me wrong. I like SGA. He's fine. But do I have to have SGA? Not really. I mean, Chet has big games, but I don't love that matchup. I just don't love it as much as the field will. Like, well, I shouldn't even say that because, like you said, these guys aren't getting a ton of ownership. I just don't see it. Like, these prices are all fair to me. Like, SGA at 10.5 is fair. Chet and Jalen Williams around 7K range, fair. Like, none of these guys are popping off the page to me. If anything, it would be Josh Giddey, and Lou Dort, who are at least cheap, and people haven't really played Giddey much, which I get, but he crushes in limited minutes. If he ever gets like extended run at all, he's going to have big games. I don't love it though. I just don't think this is that good of a spot. Both teams play too many guys. I'm just not playing Halliburton. I don't see any reason whatsoever to pay 9K for Halliburton. Like, even in my 150, I don't want Halliburton. He hasn't shown upside at all. So
since the All-Star game.
Yeah, since he just destroyed us in the All-Star game.
All-Star game was the last time he was good.
I still think that was a good fade. He just made every shot, but that's me being stubborn. So for a summary of Pascal's a good play if he's the last play in, but I think he's very safe for high 30s. But is that enough at 7,300? I'm not sure. I think we got better plays on the slate. So for the most part, I'm off this game as well.
Yeah, I don't mind that take at all. I do think the interest should be more on the Oklahoma City side of the ball. And Chet over his last 4 games kind of slightly underwhelmed. But before that, Chet was a 40-plus guy consistently. And this is a pace-up spot. Like, he's a guy that I can be talking to. I think like one of Chet or Jalen Williams. Because, man, you made a great point about the guard position. Do you really want to spend up at guard, right? When we got lots of value plays that might be at the guard position where it might be like tougher to get SGA, but these forwards and, where they're not quite, expensive, but they're in that mid tier where it's kind of that upper mid tier. I do think like a guy like Chet or Jalen could be the ones to kind of pay dividends tonight. So those are my like tournament options that I'd look at. And I'm with you guys on the Pacers. All right. Like, I think Miles Turner had like 25 points in the first half, like 25 real points, and didn't score the rest of the game.
I swear he does that so many times.
He's a guy who can do. Yeah, he can nuke in the first half. You're still not going to look at your phone and be like, oh, I'm dead. No, he's
definitely one of those. You're on to someone with him. There's so many times where the Discord's like, oh, he's crushing, it's over, and then he scores like 3 points in the second half. It happens so many times.
And that's the fear with like a lot of these Pacers guys. Like, sometimes the offense can just navigate away from you, and especially with so many weapons. Like, Mathurin is someone where, moving into the lineup, and now that he's out, like, who is this benefiting, right? You haven't really seen anyone consistently step up. Like, well, we were playing Ben Shepherd and Nemhard just a little bit like last week and stuff. It's uncomfortable plays, and I do think the focus probably better to be on the OKC side. Giddey, I'm never expecting a minutes bump. I'm always going to be, if you click his name, expect 24 minutes. If you get anything more than that, it's gravy. That's it. Then you just kind of move on. But yeah, I agree with you guys both. So let's move on to a very popular game tonight. So this is a game that is popping on the flow chart quite a bit. These are two really bad defenses, and it is the Washington Wizards at the Memphis Grizzlies. These teams are absolutely awful, to be fair. Like, I think that you look at this, maybe you can have a lot of interest in guys like on the Wizards side, and maybe these Memphis injuries are going to lead to a lot of ownership across the board to guys like maybe G.G. Jackson. What did he have? 30 real points the other day. Santi Aldama probably playing center, and Jake LaRavia. I mean, a lot of options here, man, going. So tell me, who are your favorites in the Memphis Grizzlies and Washington Wizards game?
Yeah, I mean, this is why I said, like, listen, we the first two games aren't amazing. This is where it starts to get interesting. We should mention the Memphis injury report, right? Gordon Goodwin questionable, John Conchar questionable, Scottie Pippen Jr. doubtful, and Lamar Stevens question. So that's important to mention. And the reason why it's important to mention is Tony and I like to talk about these Memphis guards and the situation going on there. Like, I mean, Luke Kennard has got to be interesting, and so does this DeJon Giroux guy. He played 32 minutes last game. Like,
how did they price him up at 5,200 though on us?
It is a lot, but
a price discount.
But if all those guys are out, like, DeJohn's got to be in play if they're all out. Like, it's not a crazy idea, especially if like he's the starter. So it's just something to kind of call out, because I know people will be in the Discord chat saying, "What is it, DeJon Giroux?" I don't know. I'm not even saying his name right, I'm sure, but yeah, I think he's definitely someone that could be interesting. And the news is going to be super important with this game. So kind of want to call that out. Another thing, too, that I know AP has definitely talked about a lot is when Jaren Jackson Jr. is out, I mean, King Santi definitely makes it rain. I know I was watching it at Tony's house, and Santi's he's really good when Jackson Jr. is out. And I've taken note of that. I know the price, it's a bit up, right? 6-1 feels expensive, but I wouldn't ignore it. Also, starting lineups are going to be key with this Memphis team. It's going to tell you a lot. Like, for instance, you could see Luke Kennard be in, but still not start in this spot. So I really want to get that information. I think it's important. It's also against Washington, so it's clearly a really good spot. Let's talk about the Washington side of the ball, because Memphis, they are really, really bad defensively, and there are some good plays here. You could make a case that there are some price hikes on these guys, like Jordan Poole at 6'7". I'm not dying to get to him on this slate. I think I'd rather get to a Denny Avdia or Avdija, however you say the name. I always mess that one up too. Mr. Denny Fajita, as I like to call him. 7K. He is someone that I think has a really nice ceiling still at that price. He did good for me the other day when he was my player of the day, so hoping he can get the job done here today. I'm sure I'll be overweight on him. Kyle Kuzma at 8K. He's also been playing that center, the center a bunch in the past couple of weeks since the Daniel Gafford trade. And that has not only helped out the rebound rate of Kyle Kuzma, but it's helped out Denny's rebound rate as well. That has also helped get the double-double bonus too. These are two guys that have to be in play for me and that I am interested in. Now let's get to Tyus Jones in the revenge game. Everyone wants to talk about him. 6.2K. It's definitely a really good Tyus Jones spot. Another guard on this slate that I think is a really good play, and why I don't know if I want to spend for some of those guards that we were talking about. Like, Tyus just feels like a really good option here. Now, a counterpoint to this Washington team, do I want to play Denny, Tyus, and Kuzma all together? Probably not. I think you're going to see some ceiling performances, but they're not all going to get there. So I'm not saying you should set a rule, but I think it's something to kind of think about when you gloss over your lineups. Corey Kispert at 5K. I definitely don't mind him. He's a three-point shooter, clearly. When he gets the value, it's because the three ball's falling. Memphis is not a team that can defend the three ball well. This is definitely a spot where Corey Kispert could fill it up, so I like him a little bit. Bilal Coulibaly at 4-6, he's fine, but I think there's just better values that we're going to get to him that we're going to talk about. So he's not going to be someone that I prioritize. Would I pull him from MME? No, but I don't think he's a great value. I think there's way better values on this slate that I'd rather get to. So that's how I'm handling Washington and Memphis. It's clearly a good game, but keep in mind we got a couple games coming up here that are really strong games as well.
Correct. A lot of good games coming up, but this one is juicy. Big T. How are you treating this game here?
Yep, I'm in agreement with what you guys are saying leading into this, because Memphis, like always, I mean, we've reached that point in the NBA season where the worst teams become the best fantasy plays just because they have so many guys out, and all of a sudden, like Mangone said, DeJon Jarreau, or however you say his freaking name is, I think he's from Houston. I remember him in college. He's like a splasher.
Can we call him Little John for now on, Tony?
I mean, we could. Is that well, it depends on how he does tonight. If he does good, then Big John. If he does bad, Little John, I think. But,
no, I mean, Little John's a good thing. You don't like Little John? You don't like Little John in the East Side Boys?
His nickname is what?
Deaky.
Deaky?
No, that's no. One of our nicknames is better.
I remember this dude from college for sure. He's like a slasher guy that can't shoot at all. So I don't know. The main point Mangone made that I agreed with, I want the starters from Memphis, which I'm not playing the 7:30 game, so I'll have the starters before the slate starts. All 5 starters for Memphis are in play for me, whoever they are. Even if Wenyen Gabriel or something was in the starting lineup, whoever the 5 starters are, I'm gonna like for Memphis, and for that matter, the 5 starters for Washington, I'm gonna like. Everyone's in play. The Washington side's easier to talk about just because we know what they're gonna put out there, which Memphis, we just don't know. Like those 3 guys, Conchar, Stevens, Goodwin could play. They could sit. I mean, who knows? With Memphis, even Pippen could play, even though he's doubtful. You just never know with Memphis. That's why I want the lineup before I fully analyze that. Washington, though, is easy. I mean, Kuzma's been awesome. He's only 8K. Significantly a better play to me than like Pascal, which we already talked about. Tyus Jones, great play. I think he's more of a just solid play, not much risk to it. Kispert's been one of our best plays at Run Pure. He just crushes in low-owned spots. Today, he's not going to be low-owned. I'm not saying that, but he's also going to crush. I mean, he's 5K versus Memphis. Denny, I think that's where me and Mangone are slightly different. I like Denny, but 7K, I don't love the price tag. I do like him. I don't want it to sound like I don't, because I do. I just don't love 7K, whereas Jordan Poole, I think, will be the lowest owned. I don't really ever play him, but he has been better recently, and I love him against bad teams where I know he's going to chuck. Like, I just know he's going to chuck versus Memphis. You look at some of his big games at Utah, at the Lakers, who play no defense, versus Charlotte. He diced up Orlando lately. He somehow got 48 against Cleveland. I mean, he's got upside, like upside if shots go in. Obviously, Jordan Poole sucks. We all know what he is. He's going to chuck, though. If he makes shots, he could have a big game. So I actually like him a little bit, especially if he's off the bench, which I assume he is with the way this lineup sets up. Point being, I like all these Washington guys. This game, to me, is more than likely where you're going to want 3, 4, 5 pieces from, at least me. It depends on the Memphis, because if Memphis rolls all these guys in somehow, I really won't want that much from Memphis, because all of a sudden they'll be 10 deep again if all 3 of these dudes are in. And I don't want to play that as much. So Poole's gold. I like that. But yeah, I'm on this game. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's a very key situation that kind of goes hand in hand with fading that first game between the Knicks and 76ers, right? If we don't get news before 7:30, you want to be able to pivot or make your lineup based upon this Memphis starting lineup. And like you guys said, I mean, ever since that Kuzma has kind of played that small ball 5, it has provided a ton of boards for him. Denny Advia, I mean, it's been a very good situation to be on both.
How does Kuzma not get 50 tonight?
I don't know how he wouldn't get 50 tonight, but I do know that Arsenal just scored to go up 2-0. So a play by JVC for one of the bets is looking good right now after Martin Odegaard scored. And
did you get a little rise?
I did get a little rise. Oh, they chalked it off. Now I'm tilted. But I do want to say
you just said they scored and it didn't even count.
Well, welcome to the ref. The world of soccer, Big T.
Can we just take a moment?
Be sure to hit like and subscribe here, so that way I will give away a free premium play later on as well.
That was my favorite. That was good there. That was perfect timing.
The premium plays just came through, so if you guys are wondering, JVC did post his 5. A lot of these are college basketball and hockey for tonight. So if we can reach, I don't know how many likes we have. I might decide later on, but like and subscribe to the channel helps us out, and we'll give away a couple premium.
I owe the people anyways. I owe them for my nuggets. We got to hook them up. They need to like, they need to subscribe, but we also have to hook them up because I owe them. Perfect. I might just give all 5 premiums today. Maybe we give all 5 premiums to make up for it.
How many likes do we have right now? Man, this is your job. Since you wanted to kick me out, you made me look at the screen instead of the likes. How many likes are we at right now?
I got this covered. We are at 68 with 365 watching. That is definitely hurtful.
All right, hold on. 100 likes, 1 premium play, 125, 2, 153, 175, 4. 200 likes, get all 5 premium plays.
Get us to 150 likes, and we give all 5 of them.
I'm with Big T.
Now people hit
all 5 premium plays. We owe it to the people. We can't be doing, if you get to 108, it's 1. If it's 117, we're giving 2. If it's 123, we're giving 3. No, if they get 150, they get all 5 plus our plays of the day.
All right, fine.
Also, Rubio, I wanna shout out someone that knew that found us. Our guy Chris Logan. Chris, if you go to my Twitter at Travis Mangone, give me a follow. I'll make sure you get some gear, some Run Pure Sports gear if you want it. Tony, you like that idea? Get this man some gear, new guy.
Love hooking Chris up.
All right, I'll make sure to text Amber and make sure you get some gear. So follow me at Travis Mangone and send me your t-shirt size, address. I'll get you some Run Pure Sports gear if you want. This is an old school piece of gear, the Run Pure Showdown, but yeah, we'll get you some.
We're due for some new golf gear too. I'm gonna get some new gear here soon.
All right. The Battle of Texas. We're moving on to the Houston Rockets at the San Antonio Spurs. So big news.
R.I.P. Shangoon.
He is out for the season, it looks. So that's terrible for Houston. Wemby is going to be in for this one.
Whoa, what's this all about? Is she ignoring you? Do I need to get on her? Do I need to kick her to the couch tonight for this, Joe Ruff? That can't be true. Actually, I will be serious. She probably did just miss it. Honestly, just send her another message if she didn't. She's not the greatest with Twitter. If she didn't see it, just send it again. Don't worry about bothering her.
Can Matt get $9 for gas?
I'm done giving $9 to people. That one dude got me. Who was it?
I don't know. That was amazing though.
Yeah, definitely Twitter, Joe Ruff. Not that she really won't see it in Discord. Definitely send it on Twitter. The only way she's seen it on Discord is if I tell her to look. She's not looking.
All right, we ready to talk basketball, guys? We're ready to talk basketball.
Tony, Rubio, we're hanging out with new guys.
We got to break Rubio in with how shows are supposed to go here. He's so structure oriented. We can't talk at all. We can't have any fun. That's why his shows go 38 minutes and ours go an hour.
I'm trying to get this done by 5:52. Damn it.
Well, yeah, we'd like to, but we're giving out some gear.
We're gonna get done by then, easy, anyways.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay, Rubio, carry on. The fun police is here, Mangone. Carry on, Gregory.
Gregory, I'm with you. I want to get the show started a little bit earlier, but we're giving out some gear. We're helping some members out. Just let it marinate, okay? Let it relax,
We'll let it marinate.
Look at these. Grayson came in with all these Wemby rookies earlier. All these Wemby rookies? He's got 8 of them in here.
What brand?
I mean, he's got some Paninis, some I don't know what this one is. I think they're all Paninis.
Tony, do you want my Wemby Top Shots?
I do not, actually. I do want physical ones, though. If you got physical ones, I'll take them.
No, I got Wemby Top Shots for you.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Rockets Spurs. All right, this game on paper, you're not going to have a ton of interest in the Spurs outside maybe Wemby, but Wemby on the second night of a back-to-back is a little tough to back fully. But with Alperen Sengun is out for the season. What we are going to see is maybe a potential small ball 5 with Jeff Green potentially, or are they going to do Jock Landale at center here? So that's something that I want to hear your take on Mangone, and also going through the rest of this roster, because Sengun being out, Amen Thompson, Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, Jabari Smith, all these guys are projecting very strongly. All are projecting for pretty large ownership. I would say 23+% for every one of those guys except Jabari Smith. What's your take on the Houston side, and do you have any interest at all in San Antonio?
No, you hate to see it. I was on his side the whole show.
I know.
You hate to. I'm back on Gregory's side. You hate to see it. I mean, he was focused too there. He was on mute. He was very locked in, and just.
I was signing on the Top Shot to maybe rip a pack because I realized I had random money on there because people wanted me to rip some packs in the chat. But now, Tony, you got to be back on my side for some pack ripping. Am I right?
Yeah.
Nope, can't get behind that. It's okay. Let's go to Houston, though, and talk about it. Fred VanVleet, 7.9K. Really good play on this slate. I think he's good on FanDuel and DraftKings. I will say Jalen Green is 7.8, and it's definitely pricey, but one thing to note with him, if his ownership's low, I think you have to like him. I just think the ceiling is too good to ignore. If his ownership's high, you can make a case the floor is a little uncomfortable. The key, though, is Amen Thompson. I think this is a really good spot for him, 4.9K. He has the ability to break the slate at the price. He's one of those guys that just 4.9s, he has the ability to get you 40-plus DK points and just be on the winner no matter what. So like him, and I like him way more than Dylan Brooks. I don't think it's a great Dylan Brooks spot. I think it's definitely not a bad Jabari Smith Jr. spot, too. He is someone I will definitely be all over. I know DC has made fun of me on these shows saying Jabari Smith Jr. sucks. He made fun of me at the party for it. DC, Jabari Smith Jr. is going to drop a 40-plus game on your head tonight at 6.6K. Like him a lot here in this spot. The question is, what do they do with their starting lineup and their center? Are they going to go Jeff Green at 4.5 or Jock Landale at 4.8K? Curious to see what happens. Also, do we randomly get the Boban game? I don't think we do, but he's even with the team still. That's an interesting thing. But I don't think it would work. But
how fun would it be to see Boban versus Wemby?
That's what I'm saying.
I would love to see that for a little bit.
I could just see him getting the spot start for a little bit and only playing like 12 to 14 minutes, but I could see it. But I would just be careful with this Houston Rockets starting center position. It's a really good slate of value where I mentioned this yesterday. I thought this Javon Freeman Liberty guy was solid, but I was like, there's a chance this guy doesn't start, and it could be a real mess of a scenario, and it's just a slate where there's really good value. And I think this could be a similar spot where people consider loading up on this spot, and I just don't know if I want to. The San Antonio side of the ball, listen, Wemby basically got his ass kicked against this team last time, and that was against Sengun. I think he's going to come out and play pretty well. Pop said he's playing on the back-to-back, said there's no minutes restriction there. 10.6K. I think it's a good spot for Wemby. I like him more as a spend than an SGA and some of those other guys. I mean, I think Tatum, who we'll get to, is the best spend on the slate, but I think Wemby at 10.6 is a really good spend. I'll definitely get an exposure to him. We do need to know what's going to happen with Keldon Johnson at 6K. If he's missing, this could open up some minutes for some of these guys in the mid-tier. We have seen some price hikes on Malachi Branham and some other options. Devin Vassell's up to 7.5K. I do think Trey Jones isn't the worst option, but if you see Keldon Johnson out, I think it could open up some good opportunity for a Jeremy Sochan. But again, this next game coming up is going to be the game where there's a ton of value that we want to get to. And as Ben said in the chat, any Jeff Green love, if Jeff Green's starting, I don't hate it, but I also would be a little cautious with it. I think Jeff Green's okay.
Can't play Jeff Green. I'm not allowing it, even if he starts. Uncle Jeff has served his sentence. He's no longer playable in the NBA.
I mean, he's definitely been playable this season, but that's okay. He had 31 against Atlanta. He had 29 against Toronto, and he was in the cheap 3K range, but that's okay. If he's starting, it's not the craziest idea, but my point
is 4,500.
Yep, he is 4,500.
I'm not playing 4,500 for Jeff Green. I refuse to. No way. I'm giving my thing. You will never have Jeff Green in your lineup for 4,500. Stop.
Well, I am having a meeting tonight. I'm not playing
There's
one.
no way you're playing 4,500 Jeff Green. I refuse to believe it.
I'm with Mangone here.
Oh my God. If you guys pay 4,500 for Jeff Green, I will flip out. Like, oh my God.
Let's check the FanDuel price too. Now I'm curious the FanDuel price.
I mean, if he was like 3K, sure.
He's 3.7 on FanDuel.
Yeah, so he's great on FanDuel. Like, you're not paying 45. There's no way.
I'm just saying, if he starts, I think he's in play.
For 4,500, I haven't given my since the other day when I owned JSU with the guarantee. There's no chance in this freaking universe he's in the winner.
Well,
no chance.
Yeah, the one issue too is like this is the point I was kind of getting back to with the Rocket situation that I'm nervous about is I don't know who the hell is going to start the game at the center and close the game. Like it could be Uncle Jeff starting, and then he could just not even close at all. So like,
why is it not just going to be their 5 good guys? Why is it not going to be Dylan, Jabari, Jalen, Van Vliet, Amon?
I mean, it could be.
You think against Wemby they do Jabari at the 5?
Yeah, he can play Wemby.
Yeah, I think he can play better than probably Jock Landale, I think, too.
Yeah, I mean, but you could also
I hope Jeff Green starts just so I can watch you guys play him. That's what I hope.
I know.
Dive into this game, Tony. Dive into this game, Big T, because we got.
I think it's a super easy game, so it won't take long. Wemby's the only one from the Spurs, no matter what. I mean, Keldon news doesn't matter to me at all. Well, back to back, I'm not going to the Spurs. I do think Wemby. I'm with man going there though. Wemby's always a good low owned play. No one's gonna have him because he's 10-6 and he doesn't project that great. And he's just got unlimited upside. So I love Wemby, and I like all 5 of those guys from Houston. I do think they're a tad overpriced. Like Van Vliet and Jalen Green, I do think are just a hair expensive. I think they're good plays still, and I'm definitely going to like them. But I think they're a hair expensive. Jabari, though, is too cheap. And again, I'm on Mangone's side. I mean, DC, that's crazy to say that, DC. He was the number 2 pick, 1 or 2. What was he, number 1 or number 2 2 years ago? Whatever it was. Was he number 1 or number 2? Now I'm confused. Which draft?
Was number 2 behind.
Who was number 1?
Banchero.
Yeah. So number 2, I mean, he's a talent. He's been so good this year. I love Jabari at 60. I mean, he's 1,400 cheaper than those guys.
I take it back. He was number 3 pick. I don't know who went number 2.
He was number 2. Okay. It doesn't really even matter.
Who went number 2? That's what it was.
And Amon Thompson, I love it. 4,900. Like Mangone said again, I agreed with everything he said until he got to Uncle Jeff. Uncle Jeff was my hero last year. Loved him for the Nuggets. 4,500. Oh my God. I like all these Houston guys though.
All right, perfect. All right, so there you go. Sums up the Spurs in Houston. I like what you guys had to say about that. Let's move on to a game that Mangone was very excited to get to, a game between the Celtics and the Utah Jazz. The Celtics have Jaylen Brown out, Kristaps Porzingis out, and Al Horford. So that brings us to our favorite time of the year, especially Big T's favorite time of the year. It's Luke Cornett Day. And Luke Cornett is someone who is projecting 50% ownership at 4K, likely to, I think, presumed to be the starter for tonight for the Boston Celtics at the 5. You have Drew Holiday, who's back. So what the starting lineup will probably look like, if we had to guess, it's Drew Holiday, Derek White, Sam Hauser, Jason Tatum, and Luke Cornett. With those guys, all 5 of them project very strongly. And then on the Utah side of the ball, you get Keontae George at a decent projection here, and then Walker Kessler projecting the highest in terms of point per dollar for them. Mangone, how many Celtics is too many tonight?
That is a good question. How many is too many? Because the Celtics are one of the best spots on the slate. Keep in mind, Utah's a team that we always like to target. Also, Celtics are pretty thin on their bench, right? Where when they kind of like are missing guys, some of these like the Cornets, the Pritchards, the Hausers, they definitely get like really increased roles. It's not like a team like Memphis when like they just have like 1,000 different guys. You don't know who it's going to be, or like the Pacers, which guy are they going to throw in there? You just don't know. You kind of have a pretty good idea. So Boston is clearly going to be a spot to target. They don't really have that many big men. I'm curious who the starter is going to be. Will we be playing Luke Cornett? Are we going to be horny for corny, as the people like to say? I don't know. It could be Xavier Tillman as well at 3.8K. We've also seen Keita start. the key is I want to know who the starter is. Good news is the price tag is 4K, 3.8, and 3.2. My prediction right now is it's Cornette. I would plan on Cornette being the guy. Then from there, Jason Tatum, I think he's currently the best spend on the slate. I want to get to him at 9.7K. And then I want to know who the other starters are going to be, because I think Sam Hauser could easily start the 3. Then I think you'll see Derek White and Drew Holiday start. But you also could see Sam Hauser come off the bench, and you could throw Derek White maybe at the 3, I think, or like a Drew Holiday at the 3. You definitely could see that. So I want to know what the starting lineup is going to be. That's going to really be key for me. Then from there, I think Sam Hauser, even off the bench, is a good play that you can consider. I even think an O'Shea Brissett could get a little more run tonight. You could even see, what's his name? Jaden Springer. He's another guy, I think, at 3K. He could get some run, but that's more of like a blowout script kind of thing. And I think it's key just to focus on those core 6 that I mentioned. And again, the starting center is going to be super important on the Boston Celtics. If Luke Cornette is not the starter, and then they start Xavier Tillman, you want to pivot on to Xavier Tillman. I actually hope that happens. You know why I hope that happens? Because people will still stay on Luke Cornette and not make the pivots. And that is an edge. That is an advantage in DFS that we want to take advantage of. I like when at this time, almost 6 o'clock, calm down, Ruby. We got 17 minutes. We'll get there. But I think Luke Cornette is someone that I hope doesn't start, because that will be an edge. That's why you got to be in the Discord chat. That'd be great to get on a Xavier Tillman or a Neemias Queta. So definitely a good spot for them. Utah, not a team I want to really be on. I think there's a lot of price hikes on these guys. I just don't think it's a good spot. So Utah, for the most part, is going to be a full fade.
I like it. It's very important to note what you said about Luke Cornette. If he's not the starter, people will not come off of him. We saw that last night with Trace Jackson Davis. Trace ended up doing just fine. TJD ended up doing just fine. However, he was still 35% owned in many contests last night, and he was not as good of a play as if he was starting. Sure, he did fine, but again, if you see that Tillman is starting over Luke Cornette for any example, like, yes, there is a lot of merit in pivoting.
I still think that's like a bad comparison, though, just because, like, Trace Jackson Davis, or whatever we call him, he's like super talented, and like they needed his offense without Curry. So I know we were lower on him once he didn't start, but he still had like ceiling, whereas Cornette is much more of a like grinder, where I agree with what you guys, I'm agreeing with what you guys are saying. I just thought like that, because that dude's actually talented. It's just once he came off the bench, he could still get there. Like if Cornette doesn't start, he's a significantly worse play to me, which I totally agree with what you guys are saying. Like Tillman would be a great play if he started for some reason.
Correct. And just talking more about the pivot, right? The pivot overall. People won't pivot away from him if he's not starting. Tony, give your take on the Celtics Jazz here.
So they just played. They played last night, right? Or am I losing my? Was it 2 nights ago?
Yeah, you're losing your mind.
2 nights ago?
I don't even think they played 2 nights ago. No,
really?
The Celtics are in the midst of a West Coast trip. They were the 10 o'clock game last night against
they played last night. Well, you just made fun of me.
Well, I thought you were talking about the Jazz and Celtics. My bad.
I was talking about the Celtics. Did you hear that, Travis? He made fun of me, and then he backpedaled.
You can't say they.
Last night. You made me think I was losing my mind, and then you circled back.
Boo, Gregory, boo.
Last night. You are correct. The Celtics, not they. They as in the Jazz.
Hey, Gregory, you would have known if you had my Sam Hauser play of the day that DC made fun of me yesterday.
God. Sam Hauser cost me the showdown last night, too, because he outscored Horford with all those threes.
I did see that. I was sad for you. I was sweating out my team that was like 1,000-man train or something stupid. But
it's painful. But I think the second hardest back-to-back in the NBA is Utah behind Denver, where this Boston team that has title aspirations is going into Utah on a back-to-back. And everyone's going to want to play all these guys, and I just don't see it. I mean, you're getting 50% ownership on Sam Hauser. You're getting a ton of ownership on Tatum and Cornette and Derek. So much ownership on these guys in a back-to-back versus freaking Utah in Salt Lake City. To me, this feels like bad chalk. And I don't want to fade it all, though, because, I mean, they're not all going to bust. but I'm going to be lower on Tatum, lower on Drew. I mean, I'm not playing Drew Holiday ever until the playoffs. So I'm off him. I'm lower on Hauser. So the two I'm going to be highest on are Derek White. I love Derek White in this spot because honestly, I don't think he really has let down games the way he plays. Sometimes he coasts. Sometimes he's always playing hard and what they need. With Jalen out, I think he steps up. And I think Tatum kind of defers to him a little bit and lets him just ride. Like, go ahead, Derek, ride. So I like him. And then whoever starts between Cornette and Tillman, I like. So if Cornette's in, definitely want him. If Tillman's in, definitely want him. So the pivot. That would be where I'm at. And again, I'm not saying to fade Tatum if you're playing 150 and stuff. I think he's more than a good play. He's projected great, all of that stuff. But as far as my single entry team, I am much lower on Boston than the field. I think this game will play pretty ugly in Utah on a back-to-back where they just they in Portland and Utah isn't that hard to travel, but it's just a weird spot. They're playing two bad teams in a row. They really don't have it. They really don't have anything to play for. That's why I'm sure they did the rest thing with a couple guys last night, a couple guys tonight, that type stuff. I just don't love it. In Utah, I'm definitely not playing Utah guys under no circumstances. So for me, Derek White, Cornette, wait and see the starters. I think Hauser's terrible chalk at 4,300. Yeah.
Yeah, you hated on Hauser last night too.
I did, and I just said he owned me. He crushed me. I admitted it.
I would argue that
if he makes every shot again tonight, he's going to crush me again.
He will do that if he hits every shot. I would argue that Jason Tatum took the night off yesterday to prepare for this one after yesterday's dismal performance. So I'm more with Mangone than you here, Tony. I do think that the Celtics are a good chalk, but you obviously got that basketball knowledge, talking about how Salt Lake is a tough place to play, just like Denver on a back-to-back. So I can definitely see where you are coming from. Let's go ahead and move on to one of our last two games, the 10 p.m. games here. And this one has actually got quite a bit on the line. I mean, the Timberwolves are trying not to fall out of that top three, but with the injuries kind of happening to Karl Anthony Towns, they missed out on Gobert last game, and just have a bunch of guys who are questionable after Kyle Anderson also missed. So it's a little bit of a murky spot for the Timberwolves here, and the only guy projecting well at all is Rudy Gobert on SaberSim here, Mangone. And then I look at the Clippers side, and this reminds me a lot of the 76ers and New York Knicks game, where none of these guys are popping on the projections. Is that the case for you too, or do you have any tricks up your sleeve for this one?
I mean, I definitely don't think this is a bad spot because we have questionable tags, right? And, I mean, this could certainly just change the slate. The question is, though, how do you do it, right? Like, do you backload for it? When will we have the news? One thing I will note, I think we will get at least an update an hour and a half before that game, right? Before that game starts, where you have three games to choose from: Boston, Utah, Milwaukee, Sacramento, and then you have the Clippers, Minnesota game. So you can backload it and wait to see what the update is, and then decide, hey, if you are too uncomfortable with trying to take a chance on the Clippers, play with these Boston guys if you want. They're still really good plays. That is definitely a strategy that you could deploy on this slate. So I think it's something that I am going to consider a lot of. I think it's a good night to be making swaps on these things. And like, let's say these guys play. Kawhi Leonard would be a good play. I mean, James Harden would be a good play. All these guys would be good plays, and there's opportunity for you to do well. Also, you could pivot to an Ann Edwards. Obviously, we don't know if he's in, and even more value could open up. So it's hard to tell you what to do now, Rubio. That's the real tough thing to mention. But I will say there is some strategy that you can use. This is why it's good to be a Run Pure Sports member and be in the Discord chat so we can talk about these things. This is why we can rank guys for you based on what we think, how the news falls. So it's hard to give you the information on that, but that's definitely a strategy that you could use.
Very much so. And Tony, you have a pretty good read on the Clippers from time to time. And I know JBC also has a good read on the Clippers too. So also very important to be in the Discord for that. Maybe we get the news tipped a little bit early. But Tony, what's your read on the Kawhi and Paul George news? Do you think one of them sits here tonight?
I mean, this is a good example of why I hate having late swap and late games on there, because this game's a disaster, to be fully honest. You could see a lot of stuff happen. If you wait, you could definitely get rewarded 100% if some guys are out and you fall into it. You could also be totally punished if you play these guys and everyone plays, because make no mistake about it, if all these dudes are in, there's no real solid plays. Both these teams are pretty good on defense, slower pace, not a ton I usually like when everyone's in there. So definitely the risk reward, like Mangone's talking about, where you just got to make a decision and go with it. And you know what? If it goes the wrong way, maybe you play some people in the next game we're going to talk about, that type of thing. For me tonight, though, I'm just going to ignore the Minnesota Clippers game right now. I'll circle back later in the night and see what it's at. But I like enough plays in other games that I just don't – I'm not going to be by my computer, Jimmy. I just think there's enough good plays that I don't have to go here tonight. And let's just say rhetorically, if Minnesota somehow had the same thing as the other night where like 2 or 3 guys were out and Naz Reid was starting, I mean, I even told Rubio on the playbook whatever day that was, I'm like, you got to crank him up in the 40s because when those guys are out, you just have to do it. But again, I don't think they all sit tonight. Like I think maybe one of them sits or something. But I think for the most part, these guys are going to be in. And the Clippers side, maybe one of them sits, Kawhi or Paul George. But honestly, I don't know. I don't love the matchup either way, so I'm just off of it.
Yeah, I think it's very important to note that this is a part of 2 10 p.m. games, right? So if you wanted to take a risk, right, you do have pivots to maybe the Milwaukee Bucks and Sacramento Kings game where there's quite a few good plays over there, right? And then even with that 9 p.m. game, like you were talking about, Mangone, if you wanted to take the risk, maybe we get news. I mean, this is a slate where, I know our guy, Kevin Fallon, K Fallon, kind of always talks about, but I could see him backloading for this one a little bit. Maybe you
definitely see him backloading. This is a phallic move.
And because what if you did get Gobert out again, right? Naz Reid would become one of the best plays in the slate, and you're not going to get him at 50% ownership. Instead, you're going to get him at 20 to 25.
You might get him even lower just the way the slate sets up.
Same with Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. What if they sit? James Harden or one or the other becomes a very good play.
What if they both sit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, then
you got a full nuke.
So that's one way to approach it.
Stupid though, and Jimmy B's telling me to stop complaining. This is why it's stupid though. Like it shouldn't. Fantasy sports shouldn't come down to who can sit in front of the computer all night and wait to make adjustments. That's not what it's about. Like it's just not. You're supposed to build the best fantasy teams. And again, this is a bad reaction to this game, but you shouldn't have to wait and say, okay, are these guys in or are they out? That's not what it's about. You're just rewarding people for sitting in front of the computer all night. Like that's not what it's about.
Tony, yeah. I know a guy that told me once, a very intelligent guy. He said, know how to run your shop, okay? And bring your computer with you. And
I do. It's not, I'm not even talking about for me. I always have my laptop with me. I'm saying in general, it's not good for like casual. It is what it is. I don't know. Jimmy B, I'm taking I need to stop complaining. So I'm circling back. I need to stop complaining about it.
Thank you. Thank you,
I'm going to be out tonight, and I'm whipping the computer out. I'm going to tell him, I'm good. Whipping it out, and I'm going to get the job done and shit. No complaining.
I like to whip other things out.
He's whipping it out, man. Yeah. All right. Speaking of whipping it out, let's go to the last game, and let's whip out the Milwaukee Bucks at the Sacramento Kings here with very good.
That we're over an hour.
It is killing me.
Are you nervous?
For the people who don't know, it is 70 degrees and sunny outside, and I am going to the driving range right after this show. And every minute that we spend, trust me, I'm always here for you guys, right? No, I'm playing.
You're going
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Is your lady going to out-hit you again?
I'm a terrible golf coach. I have found that out. Over everyone I've tried to teach golf, I am the worst to probably ever get advice from, and she still can't hit it more than 100 yards consistently, and that is my fault. And I recognize my flaws. And my flaws tonight is going to be jamming in Giannis Antetokounmpo at 11-5 and Domas Sabonis at 10-4. Two of the best studs on the slate, Mangone. Tell me otherwise, because Sabonis, he's been on a tear right now. He is the ultimate stat patter. He has been absolutely going off and triple doubles across the board. I think the game that they struggled against I can't even remember, a couple of games ago, it was against the Spurs. I believe it was. I could be wrong, but he had 37, 12, and 9, right? Like, he is putting up some unreal numbers here. Are these your two favorite studs as well, or maybe you're going different places?
I mean, I do like Tatum the most, but I definitely don't mind these studs. I think they're fine. I will mention, it's definitely a really good De'Aaron Fox spot if you wanted to pivot there. He is pricey, but Damian Lillard is a trash can at defense. We talked about it all the time. It's one of those spots to target. So I don't hate De'Aaron Fox. I don't hate Sabonis. These guys are fine, but I don't think they're like priorities. I think Tatum is way more of a priority to me. I struggle with some of the mid-tier guys in this game. I just think they're a little bit overpriced. So it's really mainly looking at the studs and then pairing them up with the values that we have been presented in the board. So Rubio, we got through that one really quick. I'm definitely going to take up some time in a little bit that you're going to hate, but hey, your drive is going to have to wait a little
bit. By all means, we also need more likes for the premium players. I believe we were like 12 away.
So. Yeah, I saw 133, but I can hit the refresh and make sure.
147. I need 3 more likes. You get all 5 premium plays for tonight from JBC. His 5 best bets for tonight's action. All right, man. You said you got to go. You got more words to say.
No, I'm gonna do it after we break down the games. I want to say something. So
Tony, tell me your take on the Bucks and Sacramento Kings tonight.
So I actually think I'll take even a step further. I think it's the 4 best studs on the slate. And I'm throwing Dame is different since the All-Star break. Since he nuked, he keeps nuking. I mean, 54, 55, 64, 3 of the last 4 games. He's still only 8,900. Sacramento is known for playing no defense against guards. Fox, same difference. I love the Fox take. I actually love playing Fox and Dame together. Let them go at it. So this does open up more of that Clippers spot too, where if you sit on a lot of these spins late, you have a lot of options, put it that way. If somehow some of the guys are out in the other game, you can. So I'm going to build based on these 4 studs. And if it comes and those guys are out in the other game, I can pivot onto some of those guys too. But I freaking love these guys. Sabonis Giannis is actually my 4th favorite in the game because Sabonis is just nuking like these guys are saying. I love Dame though. I love Fox. Love Sabonis. Clearly, I like them more than Tatum. I like them more than any stud on the slate. I do like Kuzma, but he's a little bit cheaper down in there. I love these 4. That's all. I'm not going to play anyone else in this game though. Just the studs.
I love it. I do agree. Dame has been on a mission over the past couple weeks as well. It is absolutely great to see, and we all know what he can't do defensively. And the Aaron Fox has that potential to exploit him. I would say that Malik Monk, I think the man won 100K with Malik Monk last week or so, and Monk went absolutely off too. So lots to like especially on the higher end of this game here between the Bucks and Kings. One last name that I'll just throw out there. Keegan Murray did participate in shoot around, but if he were to miss, you could see a couple guys get bumped. Just a status to watch. I think he plays though, so nothing you have to really worry about. Let's see. The plays of the day are up, but Mangone, you had one thing to add right before the plays of the day. Go ahead and dive in.
Yeah, I wanted to add, and Tony, I'm going to need some help from you with this, but we're going to do a little free roll for the people in golf, right? And I want to kind of discuss it. We have 361 watching. It's going to be a logo free roll. So if you have the logo, Tony, why don't you talk a little bit about it? But we're giving away $500 and some RPS swag for the people. So Rubio, we're promoting the company, not your shitty golf game. So let us please talk about the company right now. Get in line. So Tony, talk about this free roll that we're going to do for the players, and not just the players. It's going to be a weekly free roll that we're going to do for March Madness, the Masters, a bunch of other events.
Yeah, we're going to start doing these free roll contests, starting with the players this week. Obviously, where I won the Millie three years ago. My favorite, it'll always be my favorite tournament after that. The players, Sawgrass, always right before March Madness in March. It's just perfect timing. So we're going to start doing these logo contests where if you use our logo, the new white logo, you can get on Twitter or our Discord, obviously, or we'll post it too when we put the contest link out. But $500 for free. All you got to do is put the logo on DraftKings and play the contest. What is it? $250 for first, $150 for second, 100 is that all right? 100 for third, 500 total dollars. And it's not just going to be golf; it's going to be more as we go. March Madness, we're going to do it each day: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Contest each day. Other sports too as we go through basketball. I'm sure all the sports we'll have it as we go, just to get people to start using these logos. If you're in the community, want to use them and want to make some free money, pop that up. I know some people want to have their dog on there or their girlfriend or whatever they put on. That's fine. You can do it. I mean, it is what it is. But if you want to be in the free roll, all you got to do, use the white logo, the new white logo that looks sweet anyways. You can see it in the chat. It's Kevin's logo. And enter the contest. It's that simple. Starting Thursday. I'm going to set it up tonight, later on tonight. So either late tonight or tomorrow, I'll tweet the link out. We'll put it in Discord. We'll put it everywhere. But we want to reward people for using our logo and just being a part of the community, the Run Pure community, which I think is the best in the industry. And just to be a part of it, that's how we want to give back some money for supporting us with the logo. We'll support you with some free money. So I think that describes it. But if not, add on to it.
No, that's good. And like another thing, like me and Ruby are kind of already talked through like a little bit of like the schedule for stuff. And like if we basically have like events planned, like for the play-in tournament, we might do showdown one week. We're gonna do different things for you guys. So it's definitely something we have planned to do for the long haul. So be sure to get in there. And we've done some of these giveaways before in the past. And let me tell you, people have not joined them as much as you think. And like it's been pretty easy money to get. So do your best to get in there for sure.
So the logo is also available on the Run Pure Sports website, and we'll also post it to the Twitter along with a link for the DraftKings contest once Big T sets it up. And don't forget, we are not just doing this for golf this week for the players. No, this will be something for every sport once a week. So we also will have the March Madness stuff that we're launching as well. So a lot to look forward to, a lot of money to be given away and won by you guys here for your skill at DFS too when you use the logo. Plays of the day now, but we did actually hit the number, the 150 number here as well. So I want to give away the premium plays that JVC posted into the chat here. So if you guys are wondering, what is he on today? He is on Miami, Florida, college basketball, -2.5. Again, Miami, Florida, -2.5. Colorado and Calgary, NHL, over 6.5, -120. Gonzaga, that's basketball, -3, NCAA men's basketball. Then these next two are hockey. The Columbus Blue Jackets taking on Montreal, over 6.5, -115. And the Pittsburgh Penguins money line, -120. So those are the 5 premium plays today from our guy JBC. The premium plays have been absolutely crushing, and it's good to watch. And there's no better time than March to get in on these premium plays and into bets in general. So a lot to have here. Let's go ahead and get to the plays of the day now. Mangone, I'll allow you to lead us off. Who is your play of the day?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm getting the Gonzaga bet in, by the way, right now, because as a Zags fan, when I used to watch them all the time, I got to root on my boys tonight. I think it's a big game. So, but play of the day is going to be a guy that DC hates. DC hated Sam Hauser yesterday, so we got to go back to the well-known DC since we got a show with him tomorrow. Going with Jabari Smith Jr., 6.6K. He will be my play of the day against Victor Wembanyama.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Victor Wembanyama. Love it, love it. Big T, who is your play of the day for today?
Well, also, before we get out, too, we're going to be on playback again tonight. I don't know when I'll be back from the game, but somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock. JSU might be on before me or whatever, but 9 to 10 o'clock, we'll talk about the 2 late games, too. So the Minnesota news, the Clippers news, the late 2-game slate from 9 to 10. We'll probably watch some hoops, too. But definitely check us out on playback later tonight. I don't know the exact time again, but somewhere between 9 and 10. We'll talk about those late games free. If you haven't seen playback, very cool site where we can watch the games and break stuff down. So I'm on that. My play of the day is easy. Dollar Dame, baby. It's Dollar Dame time. He's going to go off tonight. He's going to keep it going. The matchup's great. He's going for 60. I absolutely love it tonight. Dollar Dame, baby.
Perfect. Man, good. You said, which one was yours again? I might have said it wrong.
Jabari Smith Jr.
You said Wemby's name in there. So Jabari Smith and Dollar Dame.
You were listening, Gregory. You would have known what he said.
Yeah, too many things. Dreaming of the driving range and
Yeah, he was dreaming of those 180-yard freaking drives.
Oh, I outdrove Big T quite a bit. My play of the day today.
Quite a bit? What does quite a bit mean?
Quite a bit, more than a couple times. That's all I'll say.
One is quite a bit, man. Since when is one quite a bit?
Yeah.
It was more than one. I guarantee you that, especially if you include the par threes.
And the one we outdrove. Oh, if you include the par threes.
All right. Kyle Kuzma, my play of the day. We got Damian Lillard, Kyle Kuzma, and Jabari Smith Jr. as our plays of the day here from Run Pure Sports. Don't forget to update that logo. Free roll will be posting soon. $500 with first, second, and third being paid out this week. If we don't win tonight, we hope it's one of y'all. Good luck, and bye-bye.